Hello and welcome to my channel on human design. Well, we've got an interesting episode this week. I want to talk about relationships because there's three questions related to that. But I want to start with a question that isn't related to relationship in order to give us a foundation to understand the journey we will be going in going through the three questions on relationship. So let us begin with a question from Carla. Hello, Richard. I have a question regarding grounding. I struggle a lot and stay grounded in my body and overall with the feeling of not fully being in my body and taking up my space. I already did make some progress and go to Somatic Therapy, which has helped me a lot. Now, I want to ask you if you have thoughts about my two earth gates and how they can help me to ground more, or anything that comes to your mind regarding grounding in looking at my chart. Thank you so much for all the beautiful work you do. Thank you. Okay, Carla, so let's have a look at the chart. I love the way you say you struggle a lot, because obviously you've got the channel of struggle, as I do, and we do struggle a lot. It's part of what we do. It's part of what we do. Quite frankly, I think it's a real blessing, but it can also be tough. However, if we look at your chart, if you've got a fixed route to the spleen through struggle, why do you not feel grounded? What is it that we can point to say, well, that makes sense? And this is where we come to the red and the black. What is black in the chart? This is what you identify with. What is red in the chart is unconscious. It can come out of you, but you're not behind it with your mind. It just comes out and then you realize what you've just said or whatever it may be. But it's another thing too. If you separate your chart between the red and the black, you'll see there is no channel in the red. So this is a sense of like, well, I feel like a leaf on the wind, these manifesting generators are charging by and it's like, whoa, don't feel grounded in it because there is no single life force in the red to make you feel connected to the body in that. So that's something for you to think about, and also other people that have no fixed red channel in their chart. To the second part of your question, how can the earth gates help you feel more grounded? Well, yes, the earth gates are where we ground, but it's not grounded in the way that you're thinking. It's not grounded in the sense of I'm going to feel like I'm more in my body, because we've just seen that that's not going to be part of the experience in this incarnation due to your chart. Of course, when you're around other people, other energies, other conditioning, it can change. But by yourself, yeah, you're wondering why I don't feel more grounded. So I hope that's cleared that. Now let's look at the earth gates. So you've got the 6 line 4 in the personality, the power of emotions to dominate a relationship, the power to be open to feeling your emotions and wanting someone there to be able to receive them. So you can just be straight. You can just say the way it is. So when you do have such a person, especially if they have their 59th gate, you're going to feel more connected in that way because you have that sacral energy there to connect your 6. But it's more than that. If we look at your determination, it is nervous touch. If we look at the personality sun, you're in the 1st quarter. So it's really the fulfillment of the life through the mind penetrating into really what's going on. And at the same time, the nervous touch, someone who wants to be moving, do you have time to sit down and have a nice meal before you go to the airport? No, I'd much rather have a sandwich on the way. There's this nervous energy that runs through you. And you've got almost the full experiential stream. You've got desire in the 30th gate going into this gate of crisis, going into the 35. So being on the move kind of rather suits you, but being on the move isn't very grounded, is it? You know, you're on a train and you're whizzing by off to something. So there's nothing to do about it apart from notice that. Notice that, you know, there's got to be change. There's got to be a sense of progress, but it's the mind that's penetrating into it. It's not so much about the body. The quarter itself is about the mind. It's about coming to terms with, you know, why do I feel the way that I feel? You know, what's going on? How can the mind work that out for me? But it's, you know, it's a matter of biology. It's a matter of the codons in you. So the 6th gate, when you're there in your emotions, you've got full awareness of your emotions. You can be very emotionally clear if you give it enough time for you to process it. And in that clarity, the mind opens up and sees other things and understands things in a different way. So I would say that's one thing to look at. You know, when you get to that point of clarity, it's only then that you understand who is around you and their relationship to you. When we come to the 12 line 6, we come to metamorphosis, and we come to the longing to express a new way that we can be together socially, a new way where we can hear the truth being spoken beyond the etiquette of the social norms and just what is real to this person or to that person, what is true for them. It is also a gate of being able to speak to strangers, be able to be open to other cultures and other points of view. So I can imagine when you're on your travels and you're whizzing around from one place to another, from one country to another, that you're going to meet people you don't know along the way. And I think that's when you begin to connect again to the grounding, because you can speak to the stranger in a way that you don't have to speak in terms of friendship. You know, you're a 4-6. It's about having a network. It's about being able to be in touch with your network. And yet you're going to meet strangers on your travels where you can just be honest, where you can say, you know, what it is that's going on, or what you see in the culture, or what you appreciate about them and their culture, or the way that they are. So I think you'll also make really good friends along the way, and people that you can keep in touch with around the world in different countries. So in that sense, there is a grounding in that you will be making connections by opening people up to a new way of being together, you know, and also sharing what you've learned through that incredible mind of yours. So that's what I would say. Bear in mind the quarter you come from. Bear in mind the nervousness and the crescendo wave of the 36, 35, where excitement has to be lived. And bear in mind that you're a manifester. You know, it's like, yes, you know, I'm going to do what I want to do. Get out of my way. All right. So that's my answer to you. And thank you for the question. In a way, it kind of brings us into understanding the next question. So this is a question from Stephanie. I have a question that has been on my mind for quite some time. I feel a strong desire to be financially supported by a man. By that, I mean I can imagine myself being a wife, supporting my husband and focusing on our relationship and home rather than working a conventional full-time job. At the same time, I have the feeling that there would be something deeply healing for me in experiencing what it's like to be taken care of by someone and to feel safe and supported. This makes me wonder where this desire comes from and how it should be understood. Is it simply a valid personal preference and life path that some women naturally resonate with? Or could it be more of an avoidance strategy? Sometimes I even feel ashamed of having these thoughts because they do not always align with the values and expectations that are promoted today. Still, I want to be honest about what I feel and explore it openly. I would love to hear your perspective on this. Do you think a desire like this can be reflected in a birth chart? Or is it something that points more toward an emotional pattern that needs to be examined? So, Stephanie, thank you for the question. And if you bear in mind what I said with Carla's chart, you can see that if you separate yourself from the red and the black, and you just have red in the chart and you just have black in the chart, you'll see there is no definition. There's a sense of really being very lost in this life, or it can be that. And the rest of the chart is open. So there is no, it's not easy to fix. To feel fixed, to feel safe. You have an open spleen that doesn't feel safe. You're a manifester. You're a purely emotional, individual manifester. So, you want to get on with your life and you don't want to be bothered with making money. In the sacral, you have the 59-1, the preemptive strike. So it's also about, let me catch a man that will look after me. And I understand that. And at the same time, it's about exploring a relationship, exploring the intimacy deeply. It can also be that. Remember, where we're open is where we're here to explore. And you've also got the exploration of rhythm and timing in the 5-5, the joy of waiting for the right rhythm, if I put it that way. So I can see the attraction, but you are a manifester and you've got the 45th gate. So, you're also the boss. So you're also, to be in the relationship, you need to be in control of what you're in control of. And if that is the home and the garden and enjoying and making the food or whatever it may be that you can imagine being a wife would include, then that's your territory. So that's got to be understood. And there will be times when you don't want to be around anybody. And that must also be included in any relationship that you get involved with. Let them know you're a manifester. Let them know you have to be free. And if they can accept that, and they can accept certainly the beauty and elegance that you will bring to any relationship, the amazing things that you will say that will make them burst out laughing because no one else has ever said it. You do have a great deal to offer in terms of being in a stable relationship, providing you have your freedom as well. It's when it becomes a job that it's no longer imagination. It's like, I got to do something here. So think about that. The 47th gate puts you into the quarter of duality. So yes, there is this fulfillment of the life possible through relating and relationships. So I can see that, yeah, you want to be in a relationship. You want to, because of that, you grow and make sense of things and become wise when you're in dialogue with other people. You make your impact in that way through letting out your individual emotional energy and bringing the razzmatazz to things, the real individual power of that, and often a power to make things beautiful. You're not here to play the traditional full-time job at the same time as being in a relationship. You're a manifester. You've got the 5th gate in an open sacral. You don't want to be tied to, the boss's time, 9 to 5. It would be terrible for you. You get very angry and walk out. You probably already have. You're a queen. You're not going to be told what to do by any so-called boss. They have no rights over you as a 45th gate. You have the 1st gate in the open G in Pluto. So again, a transformative aspect to the chart in the gate of creation, in the artistry, when I see that in your G, then I'm sure you will want to bring beauty to the home in all kinds of ways. It'll be quirky and unique and often beautiful. So I can see the appeal. Now all you have to do is wait to impact the right person and see if that's a goer or not. I mean, we can think what we think. We can dream what we dream. We can say, well, because of my design, I should be taken care of by a man. I'm not saying that's the only option given your chart, but I can see where it comes from. But at the same time, you don't want to spend your life just dreaming. In your impact that you make through this life, you will certainly meet people, lots of people. And there'll be some that you really connect to. And they've got to understand where you're coming from. Not just what you say to them, but you feeling over time if this is the right relationship. It has to have a certain magic to it, You've got to be someone who enjoys talking about themselves and you enjoy listening. And them enjoying you talking about yourself because of the individuality. The design gives us hints of what should be in such a relationship. And then we look into your environment. Your environment is in internal markets. So it's someone that actually prefers to work from home, or being at home as a wife being suited to them, if we put it that way. Yes, I can interpret it in that way as well. While the husband is off working, you're peacefully left alone to potter around and make the place beautiful and bring all kinds of enchanting surprises to him when he comes home. It's a great dream. And, let's see what happens. You might want to tell the prospective suitor that he'll also have to hire a cleaner, because you're not going to want to do all that. So looking after the home and such things does not necessarily involve you sweating it out cleaning, because I don't think that's going to work for you. Anyway, just some of my thoughts. I hope that's been helpful. And thank you for your question. Now, our next question is from Alan, and this is a different kettle of fish. Hi, Richard. I was very moved by this reading because of my own situation. And maybe there is advice to be given here, or this is just to show the other side of a mixed emotional relationship. I'm in a 9-0 relationship of 30 years. The definition is triple split. I'm a 4-6 emotional energy projector. My wife a 2-5 mental projector with only the 64-47, a compromise to my 47. I have the 37-40 twice, plus the 44-26 and the 41-30. Personality sun is gate 29. We have an amazing manifesting generator daughter, emotional, now 27 years, with 359s and 355s. All three of us are single definition, quarter of duality. Mostly through exhaustion and menopause, when our daughter was 1 year old, my partner stopped all intimacy between us, and she has been okay with that these past 26 years. Whereas I feel like I've been required to make a tremendous sacrifice for all this time, and a day hasn't gone past without me feeling the loss of that closeness and touch, even to the point of wondering if monogamy is really a correct thing for humans, if it is more of a conditioned thing, good for some, but not all. As a mostly tribal person, I feel it most difficult because there being no renegotiation of our bonds. I don't know if this is an appropriate thing to write here. I'm aware that there is projector bitterness, and I must learn to use also the mechanics of HD, means no choice and therefore no judgment of self or other, and no guilt or shame. Thank you, Alan. Well, I don't know if it's appropriate or not, but I don't have the 10th gate, so let's go for it. I think it's a really interesting question, and it needs to be gone into. You need to understand it. So yes, you have a lot of tribal energy in you, and that is not tribal is, the 4130 is a very exciting sexual channel. It's the the fantasy and the desire. You know, it's a very strong, excitable, and sexy channel. And when we're thinking about the tribe, you know, generally speaking, the tribe need, as according to Ra, the tribe need regular food and regular sex. So it is kind of built into your design. More than that, you have the transmitter in you. And one of the ways that you communicate is through touch. You have calm touch as your determination. And the mind is motivated by desire. Not that we should be always following our minds, but just bearing that in mind. You've got desire being activated all the time, and you've got desire as the motivation of the mind, and you're a tribal person that's a great hugger, and you want to squeeze them, you want to feel the person. Of course you do. Of course you do. I mean, there is no shame or guilt in that. You are what you are. So yeah, I can really see that. I can really see the sacrifice that you've made to honor your marriage bonds, to be loyal in that sense, in the tribal connection that you have with your wife. And your wife is not tribal. She is here as an inspired thinker. And she compromises your open 47 with a 64-47. So she's going to remember things differently to you, and you're never going to win that argument. You know, relationships can be confusing, and she can be very certain of the way that she regards things. And she's made the decision that there is no renegotiation. How you deal with that, or how you have dealt with that thus far, is something to face, is what I would say. You know, I would invite that out of you. You're both here to fulfill the life through relating and relationships, and you know, relationships can be messy, but they also do need confrontation at certain times. You know, you're letting someone with a fixed mind and a certain mind dictate to you the way you should be with them, and in honoring them, then fair enough. But that doesn't mean that you take out touch from your life. I think that would be very painful for you. So to find it in some other form, and to see that your current relationship is not giving you that, and probably won't. So yeah, it's like facing it and talking about it, and waiting for your emotional clarity of what you're going to do about it. And it can be addressed in a way that hurts neither person, providing it's accepted and it's agreed. You know, you do need to renegotiate a new deal, mate. You do, whether she wants to or not. It's important for you. You're a 4-6. It's a personal destiny cross. To give you a strong example, I have a friend from way back, and he's moved to Australia. I haven't seen him for years until I went to Australia. He only has the 59-6. That's the only thing he has in his chart. And he has 3 kids, and he has a wife. And one of the thing he really wanted to share with me was the fact that he's got an affair going with the wife of his best friend, and his best friend knows about it, and his wife knows about it, and they know what he's like, and both him and the best friend's wife are up for it. So that's the highlight of his month, you know, getting together in a hotel room once a month when it's convenient, or whatever it may be, once a month, once every 6 weeks. But it's really given that zest back to him. That's him, the channel of mating, you know, the intimacy needing to be engaged. So I just put that out to you to give you another example. All right, thank you very much for the question. I hope that helped. All right, very good. Now for our final question of a mix between a solarplex and an open solarplex. And this is from your favorite canary. Wow, this episode was so extremely interesting to me. Wedding drama. I don't get caught up in drama. I'm very logical. I'm very similar to 5Cat in design, and I resonated very strongly with my fellow mental projector. But at the wedding, a series of events happened. My partner and I were able to find a possible reason for each until we could no longer justify them, and there were no more benefits of doubt we could find. So I let it be known that we were hurt, and immediately the girls came over, and it was obvious that no hurt was intended. So I was quickly re-included then. I noticed my 2-4 emotional MG partner was gone. In the past, I would have run after her and not being able to enjoy myself the rest of the evening until she was also okay. But I knew she just needed to be alone and have her time, even if I had something to do with it. There would be nothing I could do in this moment until the waves settled. Thank all the higher powers for human design, and thank you, Richard, for being here for us and helping us to get it. Thank you, your favorite canary. And yeah, you've got it. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. You know, if you're non-emotional and you're with an emotional partner and they've gone off, it's good. They've gone off to process. You know, good for her too, that she left. It's something to understand the relationship that you have and to understand it. Then it's not personal. Then you don't have to play any kind of conditioned games of, oh, I was worried about you and all the rest of it. You know, let her go off and feel. That's the reality. And to be okay with it and to know that it would be okay with her too. Isn't that beautiful? You know, that's the beautiful thing. When the emotionals go off and they rage or whatever it is, and they come back and they're fine. You know, it's like, you know, just had to let out some steam, you know, felt betrayed in that moment, you know, whatever it was. And then, you know, it changes. It always changes. Anyway, I wanted to finish on that to give you a story from one of our viewers about understanding their relationship and how it moves. I hope you've all enjoyed this, and if you have, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll be back again very soon with something completely different. See you then. Bye.